Now, guys, you need to help me. I still cannot decide whether I hate this or I don't. Or actually, you know what? This decision is actually quite easy. I very much hate this. Everybody, yes, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a very special concept airplane that Boeing came up with in the 1980s. Everybody, yes, what you just saw, of course, was the special modified version of the Boeing 767. You know, once again, an 80s airplane that Boeing was very successful with from the start. Obviously, seating around 245 people, this airplane served perfect as like the mid-range, long-range jet. What? Yes, it only had 2 engines, but could still fly far distances with not too many people. Perfect for certain routes. But, well, it is 1980s, and, well, Boeing is thinking, well, how can we fit more people into this airplane? I mean, 245 passengers, we can do more. We can do maybe 300 by putting another deck of passenger cabin onto the airplane. Literally like that. Which is why Boeing indeed announced its plans to make the Boeing 767-X. It looked like this, and this happened in 1986. And well, Boeing already was familiar with adding a hump to an airplane like the 747. Fairly successful. Take a look at this render or whatever it is right here. Adding another row of passenger deck on top of the airplane. That wouldn't be too hard at all, right? Sadly, of course, this concept never came to reality. And to be very honest, it's very obvious why. I mean, take a look at how this airplane looks. Does this look flyable? Not really. This right here is, once again, based off the 767-300ER, and so it has the engines, which are powerful enough to carry the 767, but not with another row of passengers on board. Obviously, this adds a lot of weight that you'd have to somewhat compromise with bigger engines. Probably didn't exist at the time, I don't know. But it's not only the weight itself, it's also the balance that is completely fucked now. Take a look. Obviously, with this hump now added to the aft section of the airplane, just behind the wing, we have all our weight now in the back, in the tail of the airplane. This thing's gonna tip over any second. Like, I don't even want to see a fat person board this. And can we, by the way, just talk about my poor modeling skills right here? I have no idea what I did there. You know, I was actually kind of interested in trying to fly this airplane, see if this was possible at all. It's kind of hard to do the weight and balance calculations because this is a flight factor 767, so it's kind of restricted. Practically what I did, though, was to pretend to the airplane that there's a lot of people and a lot of cargo just in the back of the airplane, which is probably gonna... I'm wondering, why isn't it tipping over? It should actually tip over to the tail. Great. Let's get rid of everything here. Let's close the doors here and maybe try to hop on a flight with this now 767X. Everybody, let's do it. Full power. There you go, with the flaps here, parking brake, release that as well. Yeah, 767X is doing well. I think you should add a little bit more tail strike protection. That is so very much needed. Let's take a look. Oh. I don't even have to pull up in this airplane. Yeah, the airplane just wants to take off like that. Yeah, tail strike, nothing to worry about there. Oh yes, the beautiful update for X-Plane that beautifully adds it now. Oh, this plane flies like crap. Yes, everybody, I've done it. I've been able to ruin the Boeing 767. Please don't mind the scenery that is not very installed. Yeah, I have to push down the airplane in order for it not to literally tip over. Okay, that hasn't worked anyway. Yeah, all right, yeah. An American just boarded the tail section of the airplane. Let's talk about my poor modeling. I mean, of course, Flight Factor made a beautiful cabin of the Boeing 76. Come on, open the door. All right, just gonna go right through. All right, there we go. Obviously, Flight Factor came up with a beautiful cabin right here. I did not manage to, you know, texture the hump here, which features additional cabin space here. Not a very good video here anyway. But imagine sitting here on the upper deck of the Boeing 767. Isn't this quite a tall view? I actually do not hate that at all. It's just, like, honestly, were they thinking that this was going to work? Like, genuinely. I mean, in hindsight, people say that the Boeing engineers or the guys who came up with the idea definitely were on drugs, which I guess is a common theme anyway that at the company. Anyway, because this seems like so not flyable, does it? I mean, you know, we're kind of glad that this concept never came to be. Instead, Boeing obviously opted to build the 777, a bigger version of the Boeing 767, really, which served the market perfectly. Here is our plane flying without the additional weight configured, we still see the airplane struggling. All we have now is this huge aerodynamic deficiency because of the hump. The plane does fly quite alright. The 767 definitely is not that much of a slow climber. It is doing quite fine, although we used all of this runway right here. Everybody, the Boeing 767X. How we get there is an evolutionary process. That's how this business works. Am I right, Boeing? Like, honestly, I don't even want to begin talking about how this airplane probably lands. Oh god, oh, we're actually crashing now. Oh, please don't. All right, I saved the airplane. I mean, didn't we learn from the MD-11 by McDonnell Douglas? All that plane had was an additional engine in the back, in the tail section of the airplane, and it made the plane so tail heavy that it was impossible to land properly. I mean, we talked so much about how hard it is to land. Seriously, a tail heavy airplane is no joke, and I'm like genuinely wondering why did they think this was a great idea? All right, let's maybe see if we can land it actually. Once again, I'm having some issues doing the center of gravity because I cannot just set it up here. I cannot just like virtually add aft payload because that for some reason messes up the model. But let's see if we can land this anyway and pretend that there's not much people sitting up there. Generally, with today's obesity crisis, I think this would have genuinely not worked out. That's funny. All right, come on, let's go ahead and do this now. Land on this runway, maybe make it smooth. All right, no, never mind. This plane just doesn't flare. We are at 170 knots, by the way, and we made the hardest landing in the world. That is insane. But the flaps are fully down. This airplane... Did you guys just see that? I don't know. I mean, honestly, take this all with a grain of salt. This airplane will not fly realistically like it would have in real life, but just take a look at how badly this landing turned out. What I obviously did not do was resize the vertical stabilizer or the rudder at all. It's practically just stayed the same. We just added a hump. They would have definitely needed to do that to, maintain controllability. Right? I'm not sure. See, there's a lot of uncertainties with the 767X. Even if I would have modeled the interior of this airplane, I would have not actually been sure how to do that. Because, and this is something I noticed much later, actually, while now recording the video, where are you going to put the stairs of this airplane? I mean, planes that have double decks are obviously much bigger than the 767, like the 747 that has like a fairy tale stairs that we walked up on. The A380 has much bigger stairs and can be boarded also from the upper deck indeed, but that's a much bigger airplane. Where are you going to put the stairs here exactly? I mean, the only feasible option here is, I guess, Minecraft style fucking ladder. Like, genuine, maybe in the tail section you could fit something. I've really no idea. Obviously, this plane wasn't really thought through for a very long time because the engineers really smelled the bullshit very quickly. Yeah. Overall, maybe I'm a little bit sad. This would have been a very unique and cool airplane. I kind of love the hump. I love the idea of having double decks. I think that this would have been incredible, but if we gotta be honest, the 787 and the 777, the planes that were kind of developed out of this whole idea of enlarging the 767, was far more a better idea, and we just did another tail strike, just like this airplane will always do. The Boeing 767X, something I would call the 747 from a different dimension. So, but thank you guys so much for watching this very humpy video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, good night. And a special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters, Guns Killer, R27, James Nerdoron, that dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijutsu Finder, Professional Jamal, Ryland Williams, and New the York. You've got beautiful names.